It's 15:35 on the 9th of the 6th, 2023. And as usual, I'm uploading for my documentary, and the purpose of my documentary is human rights. The purpose of my documentary is to do with democracy and democratic and humanitarian aid to society, as has been my goal for over 2 decades. So I'm confronted at the moment by an astonishing situation in a little town in the southwest of Ireland where I've been raised and reared, and where I have, I suppose, cleaned up the streets really in certain respects. My advocacy is of crime prevention, and there's an issue in this little community that keeps bringing dirt to people's homesteads and doors, that have a difficulty coming clean about their misdemeanors and their transgressions against the church, that have been offending my holy matrimony, and that haven't been respecting their obligations. I have a lovely position as a royal. I'm not answerable to anybody. As a royal protocol takes precedence, it isn't entangled with common law. So there's a little problem in this community where people are being a bit rude to my royal ancestors, and they're overlooking a few basic facts about their offences against my child and the church. Now, our royal ancestors, I'm sure, are turning in their graves with regard to the level of crime and offence and defamation of my good name that I've experienced as of the 30th of the 3rd, 2015, when I took my vows as a woman to become a wife, a spouse. And unfortunately, that experience transpired negatively with crime and trespass and thuggery. And the debts I'm owed from my marriage are quite dirty, and the debts I'm owed from my farms are even more dangerous and dirty, and the debts owed to my child from the harms of unlawful care orders and damages to his health while I've been a married mother are quite dangerous as well, and are very serious issues for young women and mothers and similar spouses, female, to be acknowledging with regard to the crimes I've experienced since having taken my holy vows as a married mother. Holy matrimony is very serious, and unfortunately there are people that have dirtied it with dirty initiatives that are despicable and disgusting and not at all credit worthy. These people have astonishingly mixed themselves up with common law and royal protocol, and they've done harm to my child, and they have defamed my name. So now, as a consequence, there is risk to other people's families, as there has been since this problem commenced in this community in 2006. And I'm going to have to keep reiterating the dangers to women and children's rights. What's happening is quite serious. These people have no right to my child. They have no right to be spending money that they owe as a debt from Ireland and the United Kingdom. And they certainly aren't safe on my farm holdings. So there's a big misunderstanding by people that are of a vendetta, that have taken credit for legislation that is mine, that is originating from my professional portfolio, and that is of my royal ancestral patronage. So it's quite dangerous to be mixing and messing with family ancestral patronage that actually belongs with my name and my royal titles, and that is in the form of what has culminated from Brexit and what has culminated from COVID-19. My humanitarian endeavours have also had a huge impact on climate change, sustainability, and the environment that has arisen from my spiritual purpose and from my heritage, the genealogical ties and connections of my forefathers from Ireland and Britain. So there are people that are exploiting from my family names and family titles, and it's quite unsafe for people to be embroiling themselves yet again in more problems in a community that have been defaming me since 2006. Now, as I've said, I'm in circumstances that have been uncomfortable and that have affected my health and well-being and my healing process, and the damages are obvious. So this community that has deaths owing to my profession, to my creative arts and my contributions to society since 2006 are not safe with repeat incidents of financial racketeering or financial fraud that they've already been held accountable for. Anyone entangling repeat incidents of financial fraud that my recovery advocacy has addressed and resolved with my farm holdings in a farm fraud initiative that offends the church and my royal ancestry, those people are committing a very highly punishable crime, and they're already in a little bit of trouble since taking my child illegally from me in January 2017. So I really have to warn everybody that with regard to the extent and magnitude of all the humanitarian contributions that have arisen from my recovery advocacy, that all of that is in high jeopardy due to people that are mixing themselves up and messing around with identities that they're not safe disrespecting. As I've mentioned, there's zero tolerance, and at the moment there's just more repeat criminality, and it's very despicable, and it's very unsafe for the children that these culprits have in their care. It's unsafe for any families. For instance, to the Child and Family Agency, I hope they're aware that they're not very much on solid territory with regard to any harms to my child. So the sooner that people are able to work with the facts and the reality, the safer for everybody. As I've said, this has to do with royalties, and it has to do with my royal titles as well. So those people that have failed at treason, that have disrespected the church and my child and other children subsequently, are putting their lives at risk, and they're risking their own family names. So they might think of having a bit of a moment with some professional to assess their well-being, I suppose, and their perspective before they kind of cause more problems in the field of psychiatry with professionals that they're not safe offending. We always have to remember professional etiquette and where it's really not safe to cause offence. And Tralee County Kerry has built up a very dangerous mountain of debt with me, and they're really not on safe territory on my farm holding in my mountain holdings in Kilflin. So the sooner people stop disrespecting the church and my holy matrimony that is fully intact, and the debts and so on and so forth. It's disgusting that people have lowered the standard. They've been guilty of profanity, and they have been guilty of bigamist attempts. They have also been of sacrilege and blasphemous conduct in Tralee, County Kerry, that my recovery advocacy as a humanitarian has personally been addressed by the entire fiasco of child abduction, child abuse, and my holy vows, and so on and so forth. So there are people that are coveting from me, and I'm very uncomfortable with people coveting anything where they could be taking on a poison chalice. It's really serious. But anyway, that's my update for now. I'm still waiting for the European Parliament to help address the ASBOs and the mentally disturbed coveting from my property patronage, royal titles and positions, so on and so forth. They built up a dirty debt since 2006, and they've damaged 3 departments of the state. So it's the time now that these people try and have a little bit of embarrassment or shame about their conduct and their example that they're setting to young children. They're not in any way acting in the best interest of themselves, stealing from a mother and child. So if my child is unsafe, then those responsible are also. It's a sad sign at the time.